Hi, this is Ken of Kansas Digital Images, and this is the Kansas Gardener. Well, it's middle of December. It's going to be January pretty soon, and middle of winter. Well, what do you do? I mean, your garden's pretty much kind of dead, and down, and you don't know what to do with it. I've got a day now. Right now, it's 45 degrees. There's no wind. Got a jacket on. Hey, it's not bad out here. Got something to do. Come out here and see what you got to do to your garden. Clean up a little bit, because when you get in the fall, you kind of get tired of your garden. You really don't want to mess with it, and I'm lazy, so I figure, well, what are some of the things that I can do out here in the garden? It's peaceful out here. The birds are actually out here chirping here in the middle of winter. So what do? Well, a couple of things that I've done is I went over to my compost pile, and I'll show you a little bit of video on that too. I cleaned up my compost pile a little bit, get some of the brown and green and get it mixed together, because I got another couple months, because I'm going to start planting here probably in March, which is only in 3 months. So it's not very far away than you think, because winter will come by before you know it, and spring will start, and we'll be starting to want to plant potatoes or whatever we want to do early, or radishes, get those early things going in the spring. So get my compost pile going. My compost rows themselves, or the planting on doing my 3 rows, because that's all I have in my garden, because my garden's only 15 feet wide by about 15 feet. So I've got a small area compared to a lot of people who have bigger gardens. But I'm not a very big gardener because I don't grow a lot. I'm only going to grow what I really like and what I want, and I do it for fun. It's a hobby. So I learn as I go along. So one of the things I do now is on the rows that I self-host, I got all the plants pulled out this last fall. I put a little compost on the piles and let them set for a little bit. But I got leaves all over my yard, and so I've collected a little bunch of the leaves I had in the yard, and some of the grass clippings I've had, and some of the other plants, and I've even got stuff in here from the branches from the tomato plants I grew this last year. If you might look to see in my videos, I'm breaking them down, let them dry out a little bit, and then chop them up, make it smaller and smaller. Because what I want to do now is I got this compost pile here, and I want to keep it moist. Once in a while, come out and check it, but keep moving it around once in a while. So I'll come out here and kind of make a little pile here, because I don't make a compost bins. I just put it on the ground, put a little pile together, mix it out, move it to another spot, mix it out, move it to another spot, and I just gradually keep working that until I get a nice little compost. So I actually get just compost, which is nice and black and got pieces in it. There's just floating in it, and it's got little pieces of wood, maybe something in there, but it's broken down. But then you get to the part where you get a little more green, like you got your grasses that are right here, that are the green part, because you want to kind of mix a 50-50 of green and brown, which for the brown, leaves are really good for that too. So you get the two mixed together, and you end up with your black soil that you can see here. So that's kind of what I'm doing. So now what I've done is I got this big old pile here. I'll mix it up. I kind of brought everything together, because I had one complete compost pile. I had one that was kind of finished. Fall came around, I kind of got lazy and didn't want to do anything, so now I've come out again. I've kind of mixed the two together and put it together. Some of the compost that was finished, I put in the pile that I made with all my other stuff that I want to make a new grouping for this next year. Mix it in there to get those nutrients in there and get it all mixed up. The rest of the compost I had sprinkled on the main part of the paths here of the soil, and just sprinkled it along the top and just covered them. Because what I've done is I've covered the rows where I'm going to plant for next year. In the spring, before I start planting a couple weeks before, I'm going to take the compost, because this will probably be broken down by then. I'll take that there and I'll put those on the rows and let them set. And I'll let them set for a couple weeks on there. So probably I usually don't plant till the end of March, because I just don't plant a lot of stuff in the early spring. I mean, I can, but I'm more or less cucumbers, tomatoes, peppers, those April plants. I'm not really much of a cauliflower and radishes and carrots. I mean, those are okay. I'll plant them early. I'll find a little spot and just plant them, and then I'll pull them out because they don't grow for very long anyways. And I grow green beans, which are kind of fun to grow. But I'm not really into the other stuff. You can do that if you want and start a little earlier. But pretty much I get most of the rows done that I've got here, that I've got planted, and or I'm going to plant, and get them set up in the rows. And then I'm going to rotate the crops this next year. And I have the tomato plants over on this side, and I had the cucumbers over on this side, and the peppers back there. So next year I'm going to take my cucumbers and I'm going to move them over here. And I'm going to put an arch in this year. Last year you'll see I had a row, and I grew my cucumbers that way. It worked really well, but a lot of the people that I've seen on the BTE websites are doing the arches, and I think I should be doing that too, because to me that would be more simpler. That would grow up on each side of the arches, and I'm kind of limited on space here, but I'll just work with what I got, and this next spring when you guys follow me, you can see what we can do. But that's it for the far as the winter time. I mean, something to do in the winter. Plant something, clean up a little bit, get ready for this next year. You know, you don't have to do everything at once. It gets cold out here. Now my hands are already getting cold. Come out here, clean up a little bit, get your compost pile mixed up a little bit. I'll probably come out again here in January, mix it up again, mix the pile up a little bit, and then come over to the other side of the rows and sprinkle them on the rows before. There's one thing important you want to know. You want to put the compost on early, because when you pull it off here and put it on here, the nitrogen level is going to be really high, or it could be higher than you want if you're going to plant it. Because if you put compost down and then plant right in it, your nitrogen level are going to be high. Your plants may not tolerate it. So if you put it on there and let it sit there and get it so it breaks down, so the nitrogen level will drop off and level off, and everything will be kind of leveled out a little bit, your plants will have a better chance of surviving in the spring, rather than planting your plants, putting the compost pile right on, compost around the plants, right around it. It raises the nitrogen so much that the plants can't handle it. Some plants can, some plants can. You just have to check on and see. Because I grow tomatoes is my thing. So here in Kansas, it's tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, okra, you know, those kind of things that I like to grow. Basic things that I like. Corn, you know, those are the kind of things that we like to grow around here. So that's what I like to do. So that's pretty much all I'm going to do this winter, is just kind of clean up. So kind of do what you think you need to do, and that's pretty much it. So I guess I better clean up a little bit and go get a cup of coffee or a cup of hot chocolate and sit inside and take it easy. So see you next time.